Hey, folks, welcome to the program. This is the pre-show for those of you who don't know that already. Field Guy, good to see you, brother. And we are ready to roll. We've got our stream is all hooked up and ready to go. And there we go. So we're ready to roll here in just a minute. Welcome to everybody who's filing in. If you're new here, this is just the pre-show. So there's not a whole lot that goes on in here other than us getting set up and ready to broadcast at 3 minutes after the top of the hour, which we've got 1 minute left and we go live. So welcome to the program. So glad to have you here. Make sure everything is in the right spot and I'm in the right spot. There we go. And there, we're ready to go. Make sure all my stuff is ready over here. I'm going to get rid of that and do that and do that. There we go. There's that. I'm going to make sure we got 20 seconds and we go live. So I got that one and that one. Okay, here we go, folks. I'm going dark. We'll be back in just a moment. Sit tight.
The Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Hey, folks. Happy, what night is it? Friday. It's Friday evening. Happy Friday evening. Welcome to the program. I am Scotty Roberts, as you all know. This is my program, the Intrepid radio program, right here on the Subspace Odyssey radio network. You can go over to Subspace Radio and check us out, subspace.radio, or is it subspaceradio.com? Subspace.radio, and also over to odysseyradio.com. And you can find us over on Facebook in 4 different places and right here on the YouTube channel. And that's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. For those of you who don't know, while you're there, you can join the channel, subscribe, and all the stuff from there, because we've said it every night for the last 4 years. So welcome to the program. Glad to have you here. Glad to see people filing into the chat room. Good to have you here. And I want to make a big special announcement. Tonight's broadcast, this night, Friday night, is going to be the final broadcast of the Intrepid radio broadcast, Intrepid radio program on YouTube. We are going to end not our total relationship with YouTube, but we're going to port this whole show, as I've been announcing for a few weeks, over to Patreon. And I'm going to paste the Patreon link in the chat room so you can all see it. That's where you go. That is where this show will be from this point onward. Now, Sunday mornings we'll still do the informal show on Sunday morning over on YouTube. We may move that eventually to Patreon as well, but so far I think we're going to keep that over on YouTube. And also a few extra littles and snippets and clips and things like that. We'll throw them up all over on YouTube. As for the program, every night of the week, either Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all of those programs will now be visible only on my Patreon site starting on Monday. So go on over to that link. If you are not signed up for Patreon, please consider it. There's a small fee, a very small fee, $4 for a month of broadcasting. And you know how often we do this show. So you get the idea of how often you'll be able to see me over there. And there is also Robertson will remain on the YouTube channels. And you'll be able to see Tuesday evenings with Wendy Robertson and I over on YouTube. We'll keep those there for now. And so there you go. That's what's going on. Grumpy Stack, never what? Never what? Explain yourself. Get detailed. Tell us what you're thinking. And so I appreciate the fact that you're here. If you like this show and you've been a follower to this show and you consider yourself loyal to the show, come on over. It's only a few bucks. It's half a cup of coffee at Starbucks per month. And we'll leave it at that. And if you don't want to do that, I know there's plenty of other shows out there that you can go to, or you can pick up little snippets and bits and pieces every now and then. So thank you for being here. If any of you don't want to come over to the Patreon site, you don't have to. I'm just letting you know that's where we are going as of Monday of next week. And thank you all for following me. Thank you all for being part of this show, being part of this program for so many years. And I just think it's a better way to go over to Patreon. It's going to help this show grow, and it's going to stop keeping this show being something that is always hanging in the balance of whether or not I can afford to keep it going. So that's the idea with Patreon. And so cough up that half a cup of coffee every month and put it into the Patreon site. And starting Monday, that's where we will broadcast. So thank you for everything in advance. And I appreciate it. Welcome to everybody that's over here right now. And I'm so glad you're here. And tonight, we're going to kind of continue on. Hence, I'm wearing my shemagh, as they call it, or shemagh, if you want to pronounce the GH silently, shemagh, or it's my shemagh, my scarf. And I've got it tied a little differently today. There's different ways you can wear this. It's all about personal style. This is the Egyptian British military in Egypt scarf that John Ward gave me the first year I was out in Egypt in 2013, 10 years ago. So I thought I'd put that on because we're going to be talking about adventure again tonight. And a little different aspect of adventure last night was how to be an adventurer. And let me recap some things I said last night. Being an adventurer, I would consider myself one, but I am certainly not a diehard adventurer. I am not an explorer in the sense of the great explorers and those who commit their careers and their life to it. I'd say about half of my life, half of my career has been devoted to being an adventurer, doing some of the things that we only dream of doing, things I always dreamt of doing as a kid, and I'm doing them. I'm not a starship captain, but I can be an adventurer of sorts. Just like I say, I am not an archaeologist. I have worked with archaeologists. I have friends who are archaeologists. I've had the ability to do archaeology underneath the tutelage of and the mindful eye of archaeologists, joining a team and just working with them, kind of like an assistant type of a situation. But I've been able to get my fingernails dirty and breathe in Nile silt dust, and my face has been blackened with it. And I've been able to dig, and I've been able to see things and do things and experience things that I otherwise would not have been able to do. And so the same with an adventurer, I say. Am I an adventurer? I've been an adventurer since I could pick up a stick and hold it like a sword, watching old Errol Flynn movies. Yes, they were even old when I was a kid. Uncle Dave in the chat room, he can relate to that. The things we did as kids. Were we adventurers as kids? Hell yeah, we were. Now, we were adventurers in a very different way. It was in our imaginations. It was on our bikes. It was climbing trees. It was hiking in the woods. It was sword fighting with sticks, and so on and so on and so on. And then we, of course, routed that into fictional things with adventuring, the Renaissance festivals, the 42nd Royal Highland Regiment from the 1700s and the French and Indian War, our historical pursuits, all of those things. Field Guy says the country is boring, though. Which country do you mean? Oh, you might be talking about something else. I saw move to Villa Platte, Illinois. I'll have you at the shop. Or Villa Platte. Oh, Villa Platte, probably Louisiana. You'll have him at the shop. Got it. Sarah Yusuf says comedic value. I'm not sure what you were referring to. I am a little burned in the face. I got a little bit of sun over the last few days. And so thank you for the good luck with the Patreon, Sarah. I appreciate that. Yeah, a little bit of extra sun these last few days. And I've wanted to get out in the sun a little bit, get a little color. I was looking so pasty. But anyway, moving on. This whole thing of adventuring, of being an adventurer, of seeking adventure. Again, I hail back to my mantra quote from Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you'll regret more the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So cast off the bowlines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Set your sails to the trade winds. Explore, dream, discover. Because 20 years from now, you don't want to get to that place where you said, I wish I'd have done that 20 years ago. So step out and do the things that make adventure happen. Now, we might have some grandiose ideas of what being an adventurer is all about. You can get Indiana Jones in your mind. You can get some of the fictional characters in mind. You can get real life characters in mind. You can look into history. I'm a part of the Vintage Adventurers Society over on YouTube. It's a group you can join, and people are constantly posting old adventurers, old explorers. You get things like John Carter, who discovered King Tut's tomb back in 1926, and so on. So you look at all of those things. Oh, is Rainey here? I saw Kelly Bell said, hi, Rainey. Is Rainey in the room? Hey, Rainey, if you're in the room. So I did not see her if she is. So being an adventurer, you can look to the fictional, you can look to the historic. How do you become an adventurer in your own life? What are the things that you do that says 20 years from now, if I don't do them now, I'm going to regret never having done them? And sometimes we get stuck in the rut. We're stuck in the rut of making sure we can pay the bills. We're stuck in the rut of a positive rut, though it may be. We're stuck in the rut of having kids, of having families. I've tried to do some adventure and travel while I've had kids and my wife, and they really aren't conducive if you aren't doing them together. And Rainey's done some of her things, salmon fishing up in Alaska and things like that. Going up for a few weeks at a time when she does that. So we have our things, but I don't like doing those things apart from each other. It's nice to have those vacations and things and those little adventures apart, but we want to strive to do those things together. So what do you do to make life an adventure? How do you make it adventurous? And so this is all in recap from last night. But Chuck Thurston says, some of my adventures turned out to be very bad ideas. I mentioned the Indian burial cave a few times. Yes, very bad idea. I was a stupid kid then and still feel that fucking thing sometimes. So yes, sometimes we try adventure. We take risks. We do risky things. And sometimes we pay for that. Chuck says he still feels some of the things that were attached to him there. In that cave. And so these things always, they come with a price, being an adventurer, going and seeking adventure. You either, if you're married and have a family, you do those things together, or it could be something that can put a rift in your family. If you are a single person, Sky's the limit almost. But in all of these different scenarios we could come up with for um, being somebody who is seeking adventure, I want to look at a few things. I want to expand on what we did last night. And there's 5 elements to adventure. It's authenticity, it's purpose, it's inspiration, and a few other things that go along with that. It's living at the crossroads of your values, is what being an adventurer is all about. Now, could I say that my life revolves around adventure? Not so much. It used to more than it does now. Right now, my life revolves around home, around my family, around my kids. There are things I want to achieve in life. Just because, let me make a side note here, just because you want to achieve certain dreams in your life doesn't mean you have to give them up because you have family. It means you have to find ways to make them work and make them work better. You don't have to sacrifice everything that you want to be in order to service family and love and relationship. Sometimes there's things we just can't do. I'm not going to go on a worldwide 1-year-long expedition for adventure without my family. I'm just out of the question now. It's not something I can do anymore. Snippets is what I can do. The things we can do. Same for my wife, same for my kids, same for any of us. So does my life revolve around adventure now? Yes. The things I write about, the things I fantasize about, fantasize is not the word I was looking for, fictionalize in some of the books I write. Those things are a way that I keep my foot in the world of adventure. So in a sense, it's my livelihood to a certain degree. The other part of my livelihood is what pays the bills. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what keeps eviction from happening. That's what keeps the electricity going, and so on. You can look at adventure in the classic sense of scaling mountains, finding treasure, buried treasure. You could go to remote areas of the world and do like Anthony Bourdain used to do. Or there was a show I used to watch on, I think it was the very old 20 years ago, the Travel Channel. And I cannot think of what it was, but they had 3 or 4 or 5 different hosts that would go to different places around the world, and they'd take episodes and do staggering episodes, and some of the places that they'd go, the things they'd see to expose the viewer to what the world is like, but they'd be there experiencing it themselves. And so you can go to remote regions of the world, you can adventure in mindful sense of living every day. Every project you have, every relationship, you do these things with intention, with focus, with humor. That's a way to live an adventurous life. Now, I don't mean to water down adventure either, and the idea of doing an adventure or going on an adventure. Adventure can be the fedora and the leather coat, the bullwhip, the pistol on your hip, seeking for treasures, and so on. That's one version of adventure. Adventure can be archaeology. Adventure can be going on mountainous climbs, going to foreign countries, experiencing different foods, experiencing different cultures, and so on. But I think we tend to want to water it down a bit, so we include everybody and say, well, it can also be going to work in the morning. It can be how you handle yourself at work. You might work for a gas station or a Quick Mart or an ad agency or whatever it might be. But it's an adventure every day. I think, to me, those are things we water down the word adventure in order to get there and make life an adventure. But in a real sense, on that other side of things, life can be an adventure, even if you don't go adventuring. And so, you got to sometimes shift your focus from the physical adventure to the mindful adventure. And that's not always easy. It's not always easy for me. The things that I have done, I long to do again. I have some hindrances, some things that hinder that these days. Physically, it's harder for me to do certain things than I used to do because of the heart and the hip and the being out of shape because of the heart and the hip and so on. So it's a little harder to do. It's harder to afford when you have a family. Unless you're making great money or you have great sponsors that want to send you on adventures, it's really hard to accomplish sometimes. So, uh, my focus from physical adventure to mindful adventure hasn't been an easy one for me. Although writing and painting and drawing, I'm drawing today on the How to Be an Archaeologist book. I want to finish that up very soon and get that into publication. And the hardest thing I have ever attempted is moving from the physical to the mindful adventuring. Melding them, justifying the one against the other. Bringing adventure into the core being of my life has been fraught with challenge. It's been fraught with learning. And the reward is a level of engagement and awareness that's deeply satisfying and deeply joyous, for lack of a better word. Some of you on this show, you've seen some of the people that I've made contact with over the years. When Momin Saad just called into the show one day from Egypt. He used to be the Inspector General for the Ministry of Antiquities in Egypt of all of Luxor temples. And then they moved him into the working at the Cairo airport. And I think he's at Cairo. I think he might still be in Luxor because he lived in Luxor. So at the Luxor airport and in charge of antiquities there. And that sounds a little drabber than the temples of Karnak to the airport in Luxor. But it's an amazing place to be, and the antiquities that pass through that place are unbelievable, both legal and illegal. And so he is in charge of all of that. So the reward can be challenging. It can be satisfying. It's joyous. People like Momin Saad calling into this show is a prime example of the joyous part of having been part of adventure. Going to Gebel El Silsila with him, having him come with us on our Dahabeah down the Nile, and stopping at all these sites and teaching us things. When I first met Momin Saad, I was writing this book with John Ward, The Exodus Reality, and I had a bunch of questions about things, historical things. And so it was Momin Saad that I met him for the first time with John Ward. We were having coffee in an open market on the streets of Luxor. And he said, I hear that you have things you want me to show you at Luxor Temple or Karnak Temple in Luxor. And I said, yes. And I showed him, I had a list of 28 things written on a yellow legal pad. And he looked through that list and he says, tomorrow I will pick you up at 6 a.m. And he says, and we'll go to Karnak Temple. You have me all day and I'll show you all these things. And so he did that the next day, and he showed us all the things on my list that I needed to see for writing that book, to research historical, not archives, but historical monuments, historical, what's the word I'm looking for? Artifacts and things like that. So that is part of the joyous side, and the deeply satisfying side is the people that I know from there. El Tayeb is on my Instagram and my Facebook. He was our guide for when we took the trip in 2014 with my daughters and all the people we had come along with us. And he's been a good friend of mine for 10 years. So sometimes you look at all these things that you experience with adventure, with an awe and a wonder. And times you feel detached. You look at it very little emotionally. You feel detached, you feel indifferent to an experience that is an ultimate experience in lifetime, and ultimate goals to other people for sure. And this numbness was a bit permeating, and it permeated a lot of aspects of my life. I lost touch with, I wanted to say I lost touch with the spirit of adventure, but no, I never did that. I lost touch with the deeper meaning of being on an adventure, of being an adventurer, because I was doing it and I was living it. And sometimes I would look at that, you'd sink your feet in the sand at the foot of the Sphinx, or stand in front of the stepped pyramid of Djoser, or walk down through the tunnels of the tombs of the Serapeum at Saqqara. There's so many things that we did. You ride a dahabeah for 2 weeks down the Nile River. And you're there, so you lost touch with the stuff, the spirit that infuses vitality and radiance into our lives. And at the core, adventure is the willingness to commit to an uncertain outcome with an open heart and a willingness to learn and to engage. It's the ability to take a leap into the unknown with this mindfulness and grace. And framed this way, opportunity for adventure presents itself to us every day. I had it because I was experiencing it, and I was experiencing it month after month, year after year. Sarah said Scotty's going to start weeping when we go off air. It's hard to give up a sense of satisfaction. It sure is, Sarah. It really is. But adventure is made up, I have learned, of 5 different elements. Adventure is high endeavor. It's the ability to think big and to think bigger about who you are and what you are and how you live and what you can do in the world. So adventure is this high endeavor to strive to do something that's outside the norm for yourself, maybe outside the comfort zone. Adventure is, secondly, it's a total commitment. It's the spirit of willingness to embrace challenge, to move toward success. It's the acknowledgement that total commitment doesn't mean blind faith or brazen disregard for anything else in life, but it's a confidence and it's a belief in the face of the challenge that you put before yourself. So high endeavor, total commitment, uncertain outcome is the third one. Adventure has an uncertain outcome. You don't always know what you're going to find. You don't always know where you're going to end up. You don't know if you're going to get bit by a horned viper walking down a stony crag off of a mountaintop in Luxor, south of Luxor, which when I was doing that, I was going down the side of a mountain. It was almost like stepping stones. There was crumbled rock everywhere, going down quite a distance to the bottom, down into the wadi. And going down in the sand that had blown into all these crevices, you see the tracks of all the horned vipers there. And I think, that'll be interesting if I step on one of those. So let's just move and not even think about it. So you're moving into an uncertain income, and there's a predetermined outcome is not adventure at all, is it? If you predetermine it. Well, by 8 p.m. on Thursday, we'll be back at the airport. That's not really adventure, but a packaged experience or an amusement ride is what that becomes. So life is uncertain. Get comfortable with it. It's the acknowledgement that there will be adversity and unease, but that an uncertain outcome is the gift of possibility. Now, we always kind of knew what we were doing in Egypt, but there were things we did in places we went that not so much the uncertain final outcome, but the process of doing what we were doing. Going out to the Sinai Desert and riding in the back of the little Toyota pickup truck that belonged to Sheikh Barakat over at Sarabat El Khadim. He picked us up on the coast of the Red Sea, and we drove inland about 40 miles in the back of his pickup. And we got to where we were going. When we got there, we were climbing the mountain, Sarabat El Khadim. It's not so much, we didn't have to have gear and ropes and pickaxes and things like that. We were following the old processional way up this low plateaued mountain. And so we walked up there. There had been stairways even put in 2-3 decades ago that had washed out of all things in the Sinai desert in a flood. And so we're climbing up rubble and things like that. But adventure doesn't always have a certain outcome. You might know where you're going. You might have a goal to achieve. You might know how you're going to get home at the end. But the outcome of the process is what the adventure is all about. So there, John and I were at the top of Sarabat El Khadim. We had spiritual experiences up there. There was all kinds of things that happened that we opened ourselves up to. And the same with almost everything we did in those few trips that I was out there. 4 or 5 times I was in Egypt. Adventure is finally, it's a tolerance for adversity. It's our ability to be resilient in the face of challenge. It's our willingness to laugh, to use humor and graceful and being graceful during any kind of difficult situation. The opportunity we face to take a step back and acknowledge the sometimes absurd aspects of being human, embrace it, and continue on. It's like what Anthony Bourdain had once said. Let me see if I can find this quote. This is an afterthought, but I think I've got this quote of his right in here somewhere. Here it is. He said, Anthony Bourdain, the late Anthony Bourdain, some might say, well, he committed suicide, so why do I want to listen to anything he has to say? Which is kind of emptiness, hollowness, and appraising what happened to him. And without getting into it all, there's some that think he didn't commit suicide at all. But moving away from that, he said, eat at a local restaurant tonight. Get the cream sauce. Have a cold pint at 4 o'clock in a mostly empty bar. Go somewhere you've never been. Listen to someone you think may have nothing in common with you. Order the steak rare. Eat an oyster. Have a Negroni. Have 2. Be open to a world where you may not understand or agree with the person next to you, but you have a drink with them anyway. Eat slowly. Tip your server. Check in on your friends. Check in on yourself. And enjoy the ride. So Anthony Bourdain said that. There was also another quote of his, and pardon me if I look this up, because I think this is important. This is something he said that made a big impact on me. And my daughter was the one who first pointed this quote out to me. It was a little longer than this, but he says, this is a clip. He says, travel changes you. As you move through this life in this world, you change things slightly. You leave marks behind, however small. And in return, life and travel leaves marks on you. Most of the time, those marks on your body or on your heart are beautiful. Often, though, they hurt. And that's something I took away from him that has great depth and great meaning. There are things that you see when you adventure that will burn themselves indelibly on your heart, and maybe even your body at times. And there are things that change your life. I remember in a story I've told many times on this show in different contexts, But when the first time I went to Egypt and when my friend Philip Coppens died, and I had the tears and so on, and you all know the story, how that ties up. We aren't going to go into the whole story of that tonight. But my friend and shaman, David Weatherly, called me out of the blue. And he said, Scotty, I was sitting in my office and I heard a voice audibly say, call Scotty. So here I am. What's going on? And I had been in a terrible state since Philip Coppens had died, and I didn't know why, and I didn't understand it. It had gripped me too hard emotionally and harshly, and every time I thought about it, I cried. It went on for 3 days before I'd heard from David. And I wasn't understanding why it was affecting me that way. And he said, we had a good long talk. And he says, I can't tell you exactly why that's affecting you, but I'm going to tell you this. He says, you're going to Egypt for the first time in about a week. He says, all I'm going to tell you is this: go with an open mind, because something is going to happen to you that will change your life forever. That's all he had for me. And you know what? That overwhelming stuff with the crying, it ended. Picked up again at the tomb of Senenmut, but that's another story. So when I say that there are things, you have to have this tolerance for adversity. There's an uncertain outcome. There's a total commitment to it. There's high endeavor. The opportunity that we each face to step back and acknowledge the sometimes absurd aspects of life and the world around us. Those are things we have to embrace and continue on. And there's always something that's going to happen. I mentioned Philip Coppens again in that story. Things that will change your life that you don't even know exist yet. And finally, in these points, adventure is a great companionship. While our lives can, I know mine does, our lives can sometimes feel solitary. I got a family, I got a wife, I got kids. But sometimes you feel solitary, you feel separated from it. Not that you aren't working to connect and aren't every day connecting with your loved ones and your family, your kids, and so on. There's a certain thing that there's a part of me that it looks like I can see myself standing out there on a horizon somewhere, looking toward the further horizon, not sure who I am, where I'm going, and so on in life. There's that solitariness about it. We can't do it alone, though. It takes a team to support living in commitment, in joy, in generosity, in gratitude. There's a certain totally different topic, but a certain emptiness I carry. That is a long, drawn-out story that's not for tonight, but I recognize it. I know it's there. I've isolated it a long time ago. And that's a thing that drives me into the things that I do in life, the adventure I seek, and so on. We can live in a state of adventure every day and in every aspect of our life. And it's those connections that we make, the companionship we have out there that supports living in our commitment and our joy and our generosity and gratitude. Living in adventure brings a sense of vitality, its intensity, and energy into all of our relationships and endeavors. And adventure isn't reserved for the extreme athlete or the daredevil. It's an attitude and it's a lifestyle choice. It's an expression of your heart's intention and the passion that you have for life. Not just punching a clock every day and watching the clock till you get out. Like any practice, yoga, meditation, soccer, you name it, adventure is a practice too. I found that the greatest success and the most meaning in my life by surrounding myself with my family, my friends, my colleagues that support adventure. Adventure's work. It's not cheap. You sometimes have to have a day job. Most of the times have to have a day job. But the payoff is well worth the commitment. And so I would say your summits await you. The mountains to climb await you out there. So there's so many other things here, Evan. I've only got, for the radio show, about 20 minutes left. But there's also micro adventure. Before I do that, though, however, I want to show you one little graph I put together today, and that will kind of illustrate really well what I'm talking about here. Let me see if I can find where I actually put it. It's going to be in here, I think, and it's called, let's see if I can actually find it. There it is. Let me load this up. And I'll show you, this is the points that we just covered a little bit. Here's this graph. Look at this. Routine, vision, and grit are three things that we have to lead a life of adventure. And you see where I've got these ovals kind of cross pollinating each other, crossing over. That's your spot. That's your triangulation point of high endeavor and high adventure, is where routine, vision, and your grit, your tenacity, all overlap each other. And that's where there is room for the high adventure, so to speak. Now, keep this in mind as I cover a couple of these other things. And I've got so much more I want to talk about here, but let's see what we can do with this. I've got this the salve for I can never say this word right. Modern itty. Modernity. There it is. And so the salve for modernity is micro adventure. Let's look at that for a second. Your pack is light. You're wearing all the clothes that you're going to need for the whole day. Your lunch is packed. You got a couple of water bottles. Everything you need is in your backpack. And your phone is switched off to airplane mode. You're traveling light and nimble. Now, I don't always address or approach adventure this way. When I went to Egypt, though, I will say this. I brought a backpack, and that's it. Not a huge rucksack backpack or a mountain hiking back, just a backpack. A couple of changes of clothes and stuff like that. And any sparse toiletries I thought I'd need. So you can get heavy laden when you're going on an adventure, that's for sure. I know John and Maria, when they go to Egypt or come back from Egypt, they've got 15 trunks of things that they carry with them. Micro-adventure is a term that was coined by adventurer Alastair Humphreys. And it's a mindset. It's an intention. It's a way of living and being. It's a chance to experience your local environment, your local culture, your community with the spirit and engagement that you'd normally reserve for your bucket list type experiences that we hold in very high regard as adventure and exploration. So dump the oversized luggage, strip down to your necessities, open your mind to the possibilities, and engage in local micro-adventure. Now, the rewards are immensely satisfying. I think of just one example, when Rainey and the kids and I went to Fort Snelling. And then when Rocky and Sarah Soderlin and Rainey and I went to Fort Snelling and made some connection with people, the Native Americans who had been there during the 1862 winter. A spiritual experience. That was a micro-adventure. Took us a day. So I've got a few things here for micro adventuring. Number one, unplug. That twitchy feeling you get to check in, to post an update, to do a live TikTok or a live video, to any of that stuff. Unplug it. Ditch the technology. Don't play games on your phone. Feel the freedom of full engagement in the moment without distraction. Full engagement in the moment without distraction. It's hard for me. I like to take pictures of the stuff we're doing. I like to take films. If you go to my YouTube channel and you scroll way to the bottom, you look at the Egyptian section, you'll see all kinds of little videos I did while I was there, wandering the west bank and the east bank of the Nile River down at Gebel El Silsila. It might be a challenge for the first part of the day, but a few hours into it, you're going to appreciate the sabbatical from your technology. It's in an unplugged or in a plugged-in 24/7 world. Give yourself the gift of going off-grid for a day. Whew, that's a tough one. I'm going to still take my camera, but I might not post live. Number two, first one is unplugged. Number two, breathe. Move your body, breathing, increase your heart rate. All of these things release endorphins. There's an increase of endorphins in turn that reduces stress and anxiety. It increases feelings of well-being. It supports mental clarity, all the good things. So when you're out unplugging and micro-adventuring, breathe. 3, solitude or companionship. You're going to need to make a choice, micro-adventure alone or with a friend. Either way, you'll experience benefits from doing it. A solo micro-adventure affords the opportunity to move at your own pace, your own whims. Nobody's telling you what to do. You don't have to balance out what the other person might want to do too. You get to move as you see fit. On the other hand, a micro-adventure with friends strengthens your relationship with a shared goal. It can provide support to push further than you may on your own, and additional safety and security if your micro-adventure involves risk. John Ward and I, we climbed Sarabat el Khadim. It was a little grueling at times because it was like climbing an ever-mounting stairway, hill and stairway. You had to breathe. But I had the companionship of John. There we were, enjoying this, experiencing this all together. Number 4, shift your perspective. Combine the 3 benefits that I just mentioned: the unplugging, breathing, having companionship or solitude, whichever. Shift your perspective. And if you combine all those things I've already mentioned, you're going to inevitably change your perspective. Along the way, new creative ideas will emerge. Stuck thoughts are going to transition towards clarity. And new solutions and approaches are going to emerge in your mind. And you're going to step out of your normal routine, and your mind does too. You train your mind to do it differently. Adventure does that. Number 5 is gratitude. It's the little things, the movement you pause and see your local landscape from the eyes of a visitor. You become that visitor. You see the detail in the interactions around you. You notice the smells and the tastes and a little clearer understanding of what's going on around you. Gratitude is an effortless byproduct of microadventure. Gratitude toward your environment, others, and yourself. So consider your options. What does a microadventure look like for you? The beauty of the microadventure is in its versatility, its flexibility. Mine might be very different than yours. My micro adventure was going to Fort Snelling, doing spirit communication there, which took technology, but we were still there. You can have people, I have friends. I have friends, family. My wife's adventures are going to be different than mine. She could take a day to herself with a pledge to walk all of her errands and attend a community theater in the evening or scout event with a friend that she sees less frequency than she wishes, all while unplugged. All you need to create a micro adventure is your imagination. It's a willingness to fully engage and commit to step outside your own comfort zone. What's going to be my next micro adventure? I don't know. I don't know yet. I have several in mind. Things that I want to do that'll take a day to do it. I'd like to do those with my wife. I'd like to take her on that micro adventure. I also have some micro adventures I'd like to take by myself to detach. Things that don't dictate rearranging your schedule for a few weeks or traveling halfway around the world, hauling duffel bags in an airport. Although that's a pretty great adventure too. So we've got about 6 minutes left, and I've got a few more things that I want to talk to you about. And let me find it here. See where I've got my notes on this one. It's in a different place, of course. Maybe not. I think I may have already, maybe, no, here it is. Here we go. Routine, grit, and vision. That little chart I showed you. I've got the reasoning behind that. Why you need routine to live an adventure. Adventure seems so off the scale. It seems like there's not routine to it, but adventure and routine, they seem like an unlikely bedfellows, don't they? Adventure doesn't come easy. It can't be bought. It can't be prepackaged. It can't be delivered. Adventure demands full engagement in all the trials and the tribulations that come with it. There's a cost. And for those willing to fully engage, the cost of admission is worth every penny that you put into it. The sweat equity, the mental and the emotional challenge. Those of you out there watching this show or who have been part of this show, you've been there. You know what adventuring is like. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The key to reaching your high endeavor, that middle point. Let me throw that chart back up here. So I'm going to talk about this for a second. Look at that chart if you're in front of your computer. And let's talk about this for a second. The key to reaching your high endeavor goals is sustainability. How do you sustain the vision and keep your eye on the prize when you're tested and tolerance for adversity feels like a platitude? The answer is simple. Yet the application of the simple answer in a lifetime of work is routines. Routines and adventure are not an opposite ends of the spectrum. Routine is one piece of the balanced high endeavor formula. So once again, routine plus vision plus grit equals high adventure. I've only got a few minutes to breeze through this so the radio audience can enjoy all of this, but we might not hit it all. So what's the difference between routine and a habit? Personal perspective, really. Habits have a tendency to have this negative connotation. Smoking, biting my nails, whatever. While routines can simply imply a positive and an intentional action. So let's go with routine to imply intention and a positive perspective. Routines are choiceful action. They connect you directly with your high endeavor goals. And as a result of constantly employing routines, what are you going to do? You're going to create an opportunity to receive positive feedback personally while positively taking steps closer toward your high endeavor. It's a win-win for you. One routine that has significantly shifted my worldview and made a dramatic difference is this radio show. I don't journal. I used to. You'd think as a writer I would. But journaling, my radio show is my journaling. It's my connection to who I am and putting it down on something solid, recording. I advocate for that. There is, we are human, by the way. So we're human. And I definitely notice when I slip and don't do things as well as I should. My journaling, my radio show. Damn it, we've got less than a minute left on the radio. Radio audience, come and join us over on the YouTube channel if you haven't. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. We're going to have to wrap up radio, everybody. And I hate to say that, but we do. But we're going to stick around for the captain's cabin. And let's talk about this a little bit more. So all of you out there on the radio, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thanks for listening. We'll see you over in the YouTube channel. Live long and prosper.
Join us every weeknight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. The Intrepid radio program, a Scotty Roberts Productions broadcast.
Well, greetings and welcome to the Captain's Cabin. We're just going to make this an extension of the show because there's a few other things I want to talk about before I let go of this topic. You can call into the Captain's Cabin and we'll talk to you personally. You can share your views on some of this. But let me just go back to where I was on this because there are things I want to look at. We're human. Our routines are our actions. There's small steps and big rewards. And the human part is I definitely notice when I slip up. Travel, kids, demands coming from all directions, illness, work, needing to make money. All of those things are the demands that we have placed on us. And it can make routines rather difficult to maintain. We're human. And the result of not following my higher endeavor routines is a lack of focus. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to accomplish anything. I lack the focus. I'm easily distracted by the new and the shiny things around me. Increase in sugar, caffeine, alcohol. Essentially, it's a shift toward external experiences to improve my internal experience when I get off center and off focus. Your routines are your actions. It makes sense. Neglect the daily activities that support full engagement, and things are going to go downhill for you. Your high endeavors in life come to life when your personal values are connected directly to your action. Your routines are your action. There's small steps, there's big rewards. The small steps and big rewards thing, the body of research and anecdotal evidence regarding routine or habit development is enormous. It's huge. But the most significant and consistent takeaway from all the research is this: start small, be tenacious, forgive transgression, and again, be tenacious. Add some more tenacity and time for sustainability, and you can begin to increase additional routines that support your ultimate high endeavors via your tenaciousness, your tenacity. Now, along with a plethora of routine and habit, the research out there for them are a seemingly unlimited number of tools to support you. It's easy to be lured to the technical, to the shiny, to the complex solution. Simple is the key here. It's easy to be lured into going big and attempt to make sweeping changes, but it's the small steps that bring the big rewards. And expert resources that offer solutions that are inspiring and support full-length engagement are things like Zen Habits, a Handbook for Life. These are some resources for you. The Power of Habit. Why do we do what we do in life and business? The Artist's Way. It's a good book. These are ways to find full, balanced ways of life. And what routine can you implement today that'll get you closer to your high endeavors? What are your high endeavors? Check them out. See what you need to do. And that'll bring us all the way back around to these: our high endeavor, our total commitment, our uncertain outcome that we have to deal with, our tolerance for adversity, and the great companionship that comes out of all of these things. So, adventure. How to be an adventurer. It's really vision. Routine, vision. Routine plus vision plus grit or tenacity is going to equate to your high endeavors and your goals and your adventure. By the way, all that's my chair making that noise. I'm not farting over here or anything like that. So there you go. That's what I had to say tonight. And I hope you all enjoyed that. And I hope that's meaningful for you. If you're wanting to adventure, there's nothing wrong with it, and there's nothing holding you back from doing it except the limitations you accept and put on yourself. There you go. It's my rocking chair. It's not really rocking, it's just squeaking when I lean back on it. It's a different chair. It's not my big high back desk chair. It's Rainey's lower desk chair. Well, you can elevate it, but it worked better for broadcasting here. So I've got this one. So there you go, folks. Oh, I see Field Guy is in the wings. Might as well bring Field Guy in. Field Guy, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Right on.
I come to bless the last YouTube show, or the last YouTube Intrepid show.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is it. I'll be on YouTube, but in a much smaller presence. We'll be on YouTube on Sundays. Probably with Robertson on Tuesdays. Probably snippets, excerpts from shows, things like that. 3 and 4 and 5 minute things. And, but this will be my last show on YouTube. I'm moving the whole thing to Patreon on Monday for those of you who did not hear early on in the show. Patreon. So if you like this show and you want to support it, Patreon's the place to do it. It'll cost you about the cost of half a cup of coffee at Starbucks once a month for anywhere from 15 to 25 shows that will air on there. So
I have to wait till Grumpy Stack pays me for that endorsement.
What's that?
I said when Grumpy Stack pays me for that endorsement.
Yes.
Nah.
So
when I get the extra money, they just completely cut my hours in half and
Oh,
basically
I
don't
hear
make
what
me
that's
work
like.
too much.
I
So
know.
that
I
kills
know.
her. I mean, I will eventually, but it
I
won't be right
understand.
away.
That's cool. That's cool. I thought there was a
So,
bug crawling on me. Well, it's a fly.
don't
Oh, I
say
got him by the
bugs.
leg. Oh, he's gone.
Anytime I hear bugs, I'm looking around. I go, where are they at?
I got a fly. I kept feeling something crawling on my hand throughout the show, and I look, and there's nothing there. Now I just saw him over there. I must have gotten him or something because he was. I have a paintbrush in my hand, and I just pushed that on the screen like that, where he was very slowly, and I caught him by the leg, and he's like, help me," and so he got
Captain's
away.
Capicano. I don't know. I
That's
guess
why.
so. Is
That's
Captain's
why.
Cabin going to still be on YouTube?
I don't know yet. Don't know what I'm going to do with Captain's Cabin. So, Captain's Cabin is the after show. I'd like to say I would, but if you want the meat of the show, it's definitely going to be on Patreon. I might do a short version of an after show that we can do on YouTube. We'll see how we'll do that. I'm probably not going to do an hour. It'll probably be a very short one, and we'll do more of that on Patreon as well. And then maybe switch over and go, okay, now for everybody who's not a member Patreon, we're going to go over to YouTube for a few minutes or something like that. So we'll see how we'll work that out.
You could always do like short clip, like you were saying, even if it's like minute short clippets, because YouTube will pick that up, and you could be like, hey, here's a clip it, 30-second clip it, and you could say, join us on Patreon or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So there you go. And I've been building up to this for about a month that we're going to be doing this, and was trying to figure out all the ins and outs, how to make it work. But the way I view it is, if you like this show and you want to be part of it, and it's meant something to you, and you've been here for a few years, and frankly, for my 1,200 followers, which is all I have over on YouTube, I only had about 8 or 9 that ever became members of this channel. And out of all the people that listen to the show regularly. And I thought it would sure be nice if everybody who likes the show was okay with donating a cup of coffee to it once a month. And that, you know what that would do for me? If I had 1,000 people who listen to this show and we charge $4 a month, you can do the math. It doesn't all come to my pocket. There's taxes to pay. But you know what that's going to do? It's going to allow me to do things a little better. If I felt like this was my full-time job, doing this radio show, imagine where it would go and what we could do with it. And so there it is. There it is.
So is it still going to be on? Is it still going to be on Subspace or Odyssey? You're pulling that all together.
No, I'll still be on Subspace Radio. You can probably still hear the audio version of the show. There's no chat room over there, however. So Uncle Dave should do a segment tonight, are you saying, Sarah? Or a segment on the new show over at Patreon.
Uncle Dave's always welcome to come on my live streams.
Yeah, there you go.
Hell, anybody come on my live streams. I just chat and
I will still do a show on Sunday. On Sundays. So for those of you who can't afford the cup of coffee and you just need the free show, Sunday will be it. But it won't be the topics that we talk about during the week. It'll just be chat time. So there you go. And so I don't want to leave anybody disgruntled as a result of that decision to move that. But one of the things that also pushed it has been the tightening of the screws over at YouTube. And we're on YouTube right now. But the way they have been getting tighter and tighter, you have to, you don't know what you can't say anymore. And if you say something and then they dig into your files and do a word search or a bot search, and they go, oh, 4 years ago you said this thing, and that's now against our policy. you're going to get another strike, and pretty soon you're going to lose everything you have. You know, if I get 3 strikes and I've only got 1, and that was for 3 weeks ago when I was off for a week on YouTube. They suspended me for a week, and I got 1 strike against my site because we talked about something that they said we can't talk about. And we didn't really even talk about it. It was just mentioned as a topic. And then we moved on to a different topic.
You didn't even say it. That's the
I
thing.
didn't even say it. Somebody
And
else
they
said
still get you.
And they still get you for promoting misinformation. And so when it's that easy to have the powers that be slap you on the wrist, imagine what's going to happen if I have 2 more strikes like that, and 1,000 shows are suddenly gone forever. So now I have copies of some of them, but not all of them. The only place I have copies of some of my live streams are on YouTube. When I do a live show, it's on YouTube. It's also now, it'll be also on my StreamYard. So I can go every night and download it from StreamYard, and I'll have a copy of it.
That's how I have mine at.
What's that?
I have mine there too, but when you're not monetized, you can say anything you want on YouTube when you're not monetized.
Oh yeah.
I say anything I want; they don't never get me.
Right.
I think they took down like 2 of my videos for whatever reason, and they put it back up. But
and it's that
and
they say it's advertisers. It's like, oh, the advertiser.
I mean,
well, I can see that. What if one of their advertisers is Target? You know.
Yeah, the new CEO is not going to be any better than the old CEO because the new CEO, Neil Mohan, was the protege of the last one, Susan Wojcicki, whatever the hell her name, Satan on wheels.
Yeah.
So he's doing exactly what she did. It's just people don't figure it out yet. He's not going to do it right away. He may say he's going to lessen the rules. No, he's going to keep them exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, now Sarah just said YouTube just released that they will loosen the rules in regards to that.
Yeah, and I'll be the Queen of England before that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the politics. You've got to be on their page politically, or at least not say anything politically from the other side of the spectrum. And you won't get in trouble with them. So.
Yeah, they're going to love the titles of some of my live streams.
Yep.
I was making puns, just biding my time.
Yeah, there it is.
And then I did another one. This trumps it all.
Yeah. So anyway, you can talk about Trump, you can talk about Biden, but expressing opinion has become really tough when there's only one arbiter of what is opinion versus disinformation. So, in light of all the stuff that's coming out about COVID these days,
that's another thing they don't want you talking about on YouTube.
And they don't want you talking about COVID either.
That's why I call it rabies.
There you go, rabies.
Yeah.
I could get flagged for looking at my content just because I said the word.
I think if you say it more than like 5 times in a certain amount, they'll put a thing on the bottom that says this is about ... and then it'll explain what you're talking about. But I just watched a 12-minute video about the algorithm, and the guy's like, "This is exciting news, blah blah blah." And I called him out, and I said, "This is full of you know what?" I said, they say, "Oh, the algorithm is supposed to be designed to target words. It's supposed to be designed to show your videos to your viewers." And I go, "That's BS." There are certain words you can't say on YouTube. Yeah. You can't type in YouTube. You cannot type the word boobs in YouTube. You can type it. You can see it on your side. Boobs.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, you can type it. You can see it on your side, but it's not going to come on the YouTube side. If you type that word consecutively, there are other words.
Interesting.
You can't type the number 88.
Why?
You never could. Because it's a reference to Adolf.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that. What's the reference? I don't get it.
Kyle, and then you say his name.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why you can't type HH in either. They've been doing that for years because I used to go into like things for like contests and we do a number 1 through 100 and people would type that number in and they'd say, I typed that number in 20 minutes ago. And then, yeah. So certain numbers and certain words are banned from YouTube for like life.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, why shouldn't you be able to talk about the history of the Third Reich and things like that? Why shouldn't you be able? And you can to a certain degree, but
they just don't like they don't like that Nazi word. They don't.
No.
I have a coin from that era, and they took that video down.
Really?
Just because I showed the coin.
I showed some pictures a few years ago. God, what was it? I don't think it was pictures of my grandfather's stuff, but he had like a Nazi armband from World War II and the little flags that are on one of the staff cars from a concentration camp that they liberated, different artifacts and things. And I put some pictures up in a conversation about those, and the pictures were taken down because they had swastikas on them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't allow that.
Yeah,
so
they don't like that. YouTube doesn't like anything in that area about that. But it's funny because other people still have those coins that I showed, and they do videos, and none of those were taken down, but mine got taken down.
Yeah.
Randall, there's actually a channel I follow that just did a video about H.H. Holmes, and it's up there.
I was thinking of H.H. Holmes when you said that. So. I was thinking about H.H. Holmes when you said you can't use HHH. So, yeah. Or HH. So.
No, that video is up there. There's a YouTube channel I watched that just, like I said, they just did a video about that because they were doing serial killers, and they said America. So-and-so's first serial killer.
Was he considered the first American serial killer?
I think that's what it said. Or maybe it was first serial killer overall, or I forget what it said. They were doing stuff like that, and Ted Bundy, and all the mass murderers and stuff. So it's like a Halloween channel. It's Halloween all year round on that channel.
Sure.
So that's their theme. So, so that's just generally what they do. But yeah, you can't. I wish YouTube would come up with rules, like not unwritten rules, and not change them every 3 months.
Well, they do. They send you out all the terms all over again and all that, new policies and stuff like that. And it's like,
no one's gonna
God, it's like reading encyclopedias every time you get one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, come on. So if anybody wants to call in tonight and talk about the topic that we were on, and moving over to Patreon, if you want to talk about that, you're welcome to do that.
It's the adventure from YouTube to Patreon.
That's it.
Riding the train.
I can paste the link in the chat room here if you'd like. There it is. If anybody wants to talk before we take off for the night.
It came up 4 times.
Yeah, from all the different places that are connected to the stream, yeah. So, not the radio stream, the YouTube stream and Facebook and so on. So once again, for anybody still here, this is the last full show that we will do on YouTube. And what do they say? Never say never. I can't guarantee I won't be back here. We're giving this a try. And I want to make this work. It's going to make sense. And it will tell me very soon if the people who like this show really like it, or if I'm just broadcasting to 6 people. So we'll find out. We'll see if we can grow it over there on Patreon. And,
probably at first, you're probably going to get 5 or 6, but I think you'll do better over there.
Yeah, I got 4 now. So
it takes time.
People it hasn't been a necessity yet. I'm going to make it a necessity. If you want to hear this show, there it is.
They'll be like, Monday at 9 p.m. Where's Scotty? They'll be like, Scotty, where are you at?
Yeah.
They're like, oh crap, he's on Patreon. Well, let me go sign up for that.
When Mojo Brad Staggs left. I won't join Patreon. You won't join Patreon because of one guy? I'm not following you.
I don't know who that is.
Paige Soiree. Who is Mojo? I know who Brad Staggs is, and I know he was with Mojo 500, or Mojo 50. But why would his leave? Did he leave Patreon and you won't go to Patreon anymore? I'm not sure. I'm following your reasoning. So
I don't think they ban people on Patreon, but Facebook. She said Facebook.
Oh, Facebook?
FB.
Facebook. That sucks. They pulled Mojo. So you won't go to Patreon because of Facebook? I'm still not following you. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm not interpreting what you're saying very well. They pulled. I know they pulled Mojo 50 because they were too opinionated for Facebook.
Everybody should go join the Facebook.
Barbie D's over on the Patreon. Thank you, Barbie D. So, Dave Potter, what are you going to set up tomorrow? I'll set it up tomorrow, Scotty, for me. We'll figure out something for the Intrepids. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Dave. You lost me. I'm good with just listening tonight. Oh, okay.
Oh, I went and watched your YouTube from this morning.
Yeah.
I was streaming at the exact same time you were this morning.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that. I was streaming and people kept coming in my chat.
Oh, the coffee show this morning? Yeah.
I was at work and I was bored right before work.
Oh, thanks, Uncle Dave.
People were coming in and they were going, Scotty's live. And I go, of course he is when I'm streaming. By the time I ended the stream, yours was already over.
I don't get a chance to do that so much for Kenny anymore. I'd do it every day if I could to help him out, but I just don't have time, and I can't do it. So, guess I had to draw pictures today. I drew pictures of a bunch of college guys raising a pint to each other, and kind of the ghost of. It's not meant to be ghostly, but it's like a ghosted image of Louis Leakey, toasting with them. It goes along with the text of the book. So that's the one I'm working on today. So Sarah Yusuf, I can barely keep my eyes open, she says. Take care and good luck. Thank you, Sarah. Hope to see you on Monday over on Patreon. It's a cup of coffee. So,
well, she says she's got things to do at 10 p.m., so I don't know.
At 10 p.m.?
Her time.
Oh, her time. Oh, for the show? Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's all right. Well, see you later then, Sarah. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Dave says, I was too exhausted this morning to jump on KBs. Yeah. Literally up every hour on the hour last night, so got crap for sleep. Yeah. I know what that's like. So that sucks.
I got home yesterday. I was out at 5 p.m. I didn't wake up till 3:30 in the morning. I was totally burnt. I literally just crawled into bed, and I didn't know what time it was. So I looked at the clock.
So, Paige, I just want to say, Paige Soiree, you're saying, have fun, Babs. It's been fun chatting here over the years. I miss Brad Staggs and Ron Phillips and Mojo for sure. Are you not going to join us over there? I hope there's nothing that I don't know. I guess when you do this kind of show, you always run into something that somebody has a problem with someone, or the way something was. I can't join. I'm not going to join YouTube. I'm never going to have a YouTube again, or I'm not going to be on Facebook. I'll never go on Facebook again and listen to you there. Oh, Patreon. I'll never go to Patreon. Instagram sucks. Never going back there again. You do a live show on Twitter. I'm never going to Twitter because they screwed this guy I know. That's all I hear. It's like, go do whatever the fuck you want to do listening to somebody's show. I don't care. It can be YouTube. It can be Patreon. It can be Facebook. Who the hell cares what somebody did to somebody else? It's whether or not you enjoy doing what you're doing. And that's the common sense of it to me.
I'm not
Not
going
to
to
be
let one
insulting,
person.
and I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm just saying, if I didn't like Facebook and somebody I liked was on Facebook, I'd go, you know what? I'll tolerate Facebook because I like this guy and I support him, or vice versa, or whatever platform it might be. Platform is a schmatform.
Exactly.
You go do what you want to do, and you don't do what you don't want to do. I get that too. So there it is.
92.
That was about how it was here, Barbie D.
Well,
92
they
degrees.
got a tropical depression in the Gulf. It's hurricane season.
Yeah.
So it's been like the last 2 weeks, the humidity's been really low here. Like it's been hot, but the humidity's been like in the 40% range. Well, today the humidity went right back up to 95%, and I felt it because I was out there.
Sure.
But
that's it, Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave says,
rained.
don't let their negativity rule your life. Bada boom. I don't let anybody tell me what my style should be, where I should be, what I should do. Now, if I can't control it, like on YouTube, I'm making shifts from YouTube only because I don't want to lose all my content there. So I'm going to go somewhere else. And but I got to tell you what, I'm not going to make a choice to say I will never vote Republican because there was that stupid dumbass Republican who voted for that stupid dumbass thing. So I'm never voting Republican again. It's like, that's nonsensical to me. You vote what you want to vote. You go where you want to go. You do what you want to do. You listen to what you want to listen to. Who cares?
What stupid bill did they pass today?
That's just my thing.
I heard you say something this morning about, earlier they said they passed some kind of stupid bill with the
Aisha, I swear all the time on this show. She said, bye, Scotty. That sounded really tacky. Swearing is most unbecoming from a host. I say fucking awful lot on this show. And I say bullshit an awful lot. I say goddamn an awful lot. If you don't know that, you haven't listened to this show very intently. Do not chide me for swearing on my own show, because I swear when I want to and when it's effective. I sometimes swear for comic effect. If you don't like it. Oh, Republican?
It's a pronoun, it's a noun, and it's a verb. All in the same sentence.
I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent, but I vote Republican. So there you go. I'm a conservative. So, swearing.
Swearing is
so
caring.
What? We swear all day in everyday life. Do I swear as a host? Yeah. There's certain words I couldn't say on a network radio station. Like you can't say fuck on a network radio station. So you can't usually say goddamn either. You can say damn it. You can say God. I hear an awful lot of hosts on network radio go, Jesus. What about this guy? Jesus. I can't believe what he did. That used to be a big taboo as well. So, wow. Inshallah, F-U tacky, taking Allah's name in vain. Okay. I don't know if you're just giving me shit or if you are, if you're serious. So,
who knows?
Hopefully you're not serious about any of that. So,
there was a channel I was watching and they did a thing and they said, you can say the word ass and you can say the word hole. But if you put them together, it goes beep. And he went ass, hole. And then he said the whole thing and went beep. He's like,
nice.
What?
Sounds like automatic, huh? Shameful as fuck, she says. Thank you. Thank you, Paige.
I think I only said the F word 5 times today, so I'm doing good.
I know you can't say it a certain number of times on YouTube. They'll flag you. You say it too many times.
I think it's like 10 times in 5 minutes or so. I don't know. They ain't never got me.
10 times in 5 minutes. I'm not that bad.
I think. I don't really know. Maybe it's 5 times. If I don't know. You know.
I don't think. I happen to not think whether you're being serious or comic, Paige. I don't think swearing is shameful. I think swearing with the intent of hurting or deliberately degrading deity, that's different. I think that's shameful. I say Jesus sometimes, an expletive. But I use that a lot less than I use anything else because I don't like doing that. I think it targets a particular belief in deity. So I don't do that. So
Okay, there we go. I think I spelled it right.
Patreon, I'm thinking. Well, Patreon will be the place you come for this show. If you don't want to go there, sorry. It was nice having you here.
No, it's not the dirty word.
No, it's not the dirty word. It's been the dirty word for the last 6 minutes. Beth.
I did
So
not.
we were talking about naughty language. So
I did.
That's what happens when you first miss the first hour and a half.
We're going backwards.
It's only been the last couple of minutes, Beth.
It's the last YouTube show. You can get away with anything.
There it is. So
it's all in fun, good games.
It all is in fun, good games.
You know the Willie Nelson song that Dandy Dunn used to do on Monday Night Football in the 70s?
No.
Turn off.
Yeah.
Party. That's what I was thinking about singing. For the last
party's over. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be totally absent from YouTube. I'm just not going to do the main show on YouTube anymore.
Yeah. So. Well, that's what I meant for the main. I'm not saying you're gone forever on YouTube, but
yeah. Who knows? I might be back.
Arizona doesn't follow daylight savings time. What the hell time is it in Arizona?
It's 2 hours behind me, I think. I think it's 8:30 in the evening there.
Well, we're in the same time
which makes
zone.
It 3 hours for you.
I'm wearing underwear. No, we're in the same time zone.
I'm actually wearing underwear today. I don't normally. And I pulled on a pair of, I like boxer briefs, the tight boxers.
Do I have to change it again? Wait, let's change it. Yeah, I have to remake my Patreon. They shut my Patreon down because it said no donations.
What?
I gotta make
Oh.
I made one 10 years ago, and it was we shut this down because no donate or something like that. I'm like, what? Because if you don't get a certain amount of donations, or if you don't get a donation for a year or something, they terminate it. So it's dumb.
Well, I started a Patreon a long time ago and just never did anything with it. Never put anything up over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I've got it pretty tricked out. So
there's
a bunch of shows up there. So
I did click the link. So yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna be like, Doug. See, if I put in $2 and Doug puts in $2, there we go. It's a plan.
There you go. And Paige Soiree, I'm still a little lost on why you don't like Patreon, why you'll never go to Patreon. I'm not quite sure. I heard you say that FB banned Mojo and Bragg, but I didn't hear what. I'm curious now. I'm just curious. What don't you like about Patreon? What did they do?
I never
disliking them. I'm not sure. I followed the reasoning there. So, hey, we got Matthew Sainsbury out in the stream. Hey, Matthew.
Yeah. Hi, good night, Scotty. Good night, Phil.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I'm sorry to hear that about you not being on the show every day. The weekday anymore.
Oh, don't be sorry. I'll still do it every day.
Yeah.
On my screen. That's what brings flies to my studio.
Yeah. Because you talk some very interesting topics, like the paranormal, ghosts, history, biblical topics. You make the programs intriguing and insightful for the mind. It's not boring or anything like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we're not going anywhere other than location. Well, I guess that's going somewhere. Show's not going away. The show's just moving to a new venue.
A better place.
We'll still have the YouTube. We just won't be broadcasting on YouTube. So I sway. It's
Rocky's drunk. That's why he nails everything every time.
He nails it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky's good. I used to do radio with Rocky.
Joe Biden has been having a lot of falls recently because I saw one on the phone this morning.
I don't fault him for his falls. I fault our government for keeping him in place because he is not a leader. He can't lead us. He is incapacitated mentally,
Yeah.
and he just can't do his job. So
I can see it now. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
put
thank
that
you.
on loop.
I don't know whether to call you Aisha or Paige right now, but thank you. You've been following me, so I feel very special. I hope you'll follow me to where I go.
Yeah.
That you like the show enough. So
Follow me to the depths of hell and back.
I appreciate that, Paige.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but I didn't even see the last fall. I just heard about it. But the one before that, I put it on loop, and I was watching that. It's like, okay, my day is bad. Let's put this on and start laughing.
there you go.
But it's not laughing at him. It's laughing at the whole aspect of this is how the whole administration is. Bloop, 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 tumbles down the stairs.
Yeah.
It's going
Because
back.
this morning when I checked out on my phone, they were showing me the level of falls by them been happening recently. And let me tell you, the recent one I saw doesn't look good at all. So I can tell.
No, it doesn't.
Came around another 4 years.
Anybody can trip and fall. And I
Mhm.
feel bad that an elderly man fell.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with Joe Biden because he's old.
No.
A lot of people are saying it's his age, he's old. I don't think it has anything to do with age.
No, he has
It
dementia.
has to do with whether or not you have the mental capacity to do the job. The president of the United States is a pretty grueling job.
It's hard, yeah.
And I don't think Joe has got what it takes anymore. And he should have been removed from office a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that out of being, what's the word I'm looking for?
Disrespectful or anything.
No, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not being partisan with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that there are certainly people who you should not have in office. I don't care what party they are.
Yeah.
Because they do not have it's not because you agree or disagree with them. You might disagree with their politics. That's one thing. I'm talking about ability to do the job. Joe Biden does not have the ability to do the job.
Uncle Dave, don't put that thought in my head, please. That's the last person we learn in this country.
Fall. Am I not clear? Not going to pay. Paige, you're as clear as you can be. I'm not asking. You're being vague in your clarity. I'm just asking you, hey, go a little deeper with me. If you like me and you like the show and you like being here, tell me what the problem with Patreon is. I'm just curious. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. But it's not because you're not being clear about it or I'm being obtuse. I'm not. I'm just curious what your issue is. So if I like the show and I didn't like Patreon, I might go to Patreon because I like the show or the host.
Okay.
If you don't like me, you don't have to follow me to Patreon. If you like the show, you could possibly follow me to Patreon, whether you like Patreon or not. What did Patreon do to you is my question. That's all I'm asking. You still haven't answered that. You don't have to answer it, but if you're going to keep going on about how you don't like it, I'm going to keep asking you, well, what is it about Patreon that's a problem for you? Boom, that's it. So I don't care. I only care because you keep saying you don't like it. Okay, don't like it. Why? If you don't want to tell me, okay. So
never get an answer.
Yeah, you're right about that, Paige. He does look like death warmed over. He's made any little girl's kiss his pinky ring lately. Not lately, yeah. Yeah, Joe is just not in any shape. He's not fit to be president. He wasn't when he started, and he's not now. He's not a leader. He doesn't have the clarity to be a leader of a country that's supposed to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
If you ask anybody, is Joe Biden the leader of the free world? In title only. I don't think he can be the leader. And I don't say this out of malice or because I'm being partisan. He doesn't have the chops. He just doesn't have it anymore. He should be retired. He should be, well, maybe he is. You know, he's not, I don't think he's really doing much.
It's
public
appearances.
It's his whole cabinet, all of his people are doing all the decision, doing all the work.
You know what it reminds me of? There was a skit. There was a skit on Saturday Night Live in the '80s about Reagan and how Reagan would be all like, "Oh, thank you."
All the kids would leave the room. Oh,
Yeah,
we got the Cub Scouts of America. Well, hello, all you kiddies. Come and get some jelly beans. And yeah, he's Uncle President. And then they leave the room and he goes, "They're gone. Now let's get back to this." And he pulls down a world map of, I remember that skit very well.
What if Biden was like that? What if it was just all, what if, it's probably not. What if it's all an act behind the scenes? He's like, "I'm the dictator, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah. Maybe
Ronald Reagan, I think he was one of the oldest. Yeah, Ronald Reagan was one of the oldest presidents America had because he was in office in his late 70s or so.
This morning that just yesterday I saw a little news clip where a reporter, you know how the president always goes by from the car to the building, the White House, or from the heliport to the and they stop and they talk to the press out on the green there. And there was a reporter that said, "Mr. President, so you are definitely running again for re-election. Are you going to be campaigning? And how are you going to conduct your campaign? Is it going to be from the basement again, or are you going to be?" And he just waved him off. He wouldn't even answer the question.
He didn't have his earpiece in.
Yeah, there's something. Nobody to tell him what to say. So that's what I meant by that. That might be a little flippant with that, but
I wanted to ask something. You ever heard of an Indian chief called Cornstalk?
Cornstalk? Current?
Yeah, of the Shawnee tribe. Because I read an article.
I don't know of him.
Shawnee, apparently, he was detained by a guy called Matthew Arbuckle, and so because he didn't want the Shawnee to get into any more skirmishes with the new. Well, that time America was not ready to 13 colonies yet.
You're talking about historical.
Yeah, historically.
Oh no! I historical. I've run across his name. I couldn't tell you a thing about him off the top of my head.
Yeah, I read an article where they said
the topic to Native American history.
Yeah. It was an interesting thing I read though because they said that I think it's in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, that he was detained by Matthew Arbuckle and some British colonials at the time. This is 2 years before the American Revolution began. And
so
him and his son were.
You just said he was 2 years ago. He was retained in Point.
2 years before the Declaration of Independence. 2 years. Yeah. It was just before the American Revolution. Yeah, and he was detained. He and his son, and apparently something happened outside the fort where that a couple of Americans were shot at by some Indians, and he was actually treated like he was responsible. And it said that the Americans actually burst in there and killed him and his son. And in his last moments of his dying breath, he put a curse on the area of Point Pleasant.
Yep.
Because that area of West Virginia has had some very spooky things.
That's one of the things I think might be behind the whole Mothman stuff.
The Mothman.
And by the way, I want to say to Aisha, nothing personal. She says, "I'm sure you would notice if I was there." Sure, I would. I notice every time you're here. So,
Ruben Fassarts would probably know this name well, though, because he's into a lot of this type of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting history. It's worth talking about and worth studying.
Because there was a mine that collapsed in that area in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and a whole set of men and boys lost their lives. I think it was in 1908 or 1905 or something like that. And I think it was shortly thereafter, there was a bit of a push more to celebrate Father's Day or something to that nature. I will have to do further research on it, but
maybe that's a topic we'll get back into more of the Native American studies that we didn't cover in the 35 episodes I did 3 years ago. There's so much more.
Because when I saw Point Pleasant, West Virginia, I said to myself, I know that place because I know the Mothman has been seen there. They have a big statue of him down there because people have seen this thing that looks like a cryptic creature with wings and all that type of stuff.
I drove through Point Pleasant with my family coming back from my daughter's wedding 4 summers ago now. But we didn't even realize we were coming into Point Pleasant until we got there. And I said, the sign said Point Pleasant. Then I recognized where I was from pictures. And I said, we're in Point Pleasant. But it was, I can't remember what day of the week it was. Might have been a Sunday, later in the afternoon. Nothing was open as far as seeing museums or anything like that. So we didn't stop there, but we drove right down the main drag in Point Pleasant, going through from South Carolina to Wisconsin. So,
yeah,
someplace I'll have to stop one of these days.
Yeah, I could have a big statue of the Mothman there. There's been a lot of reports about that. They even made a film with Richard Gere on the Mothman prophecies.
Yeah, that was like 25 years ago that film came out.
Yeah.
Something like that. So
because there's a big bridge down there that collapsed with people on it and other strange coincidences that occurred down there too, the water supply being contaminated. All types of odd things down there.
Yeah, it's an interesting place. You know, you're in the Appalachia there. Dave Potter, by the way, said Biden is just one fall away from making Kamala Harris the president of the United States. And that scares people.
Very scary.
Very scary. I can't believe they're letting him run again. But I think it's working so far for them. It's working out all right because they're calling the shots, not the president. So
well, they make the rules. They can break them. They can bend them. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Because to me, although Ronald Reagan was shot and he was not a young man, he still had his tenacity and the ability to continue to run the country even after surviving an assassination attempt.
Oh, Reagan. When Reagan was shot? Yeah.
Reagan.
Yeah.
So he was still able to have the tenacity and the ability to continue running and continue going as president. That's one thing I noticed.
I think it was the last year, or it was right after he got out of office, he started having the Alzheimer's problems. I think it was like a few years after he got out of office.
Yeah.
Because I remember he did a speech. I think he was after he was the president. Yeah. Maybe a year or so removed. It wasn't when he was president. But the only time Reagan had any memory loss is when Sam Donaldson asked him a question. He's like, huh? What?
Okay.
Well,
what's Sam?
He did say one thing good that
saying there. It's like he forgot when he told everyone to go to hell. GD it if we don't follow. I'm not. I didn't quite catch that. Are you drinking tonight? No offense. I type funny when I drink. I know that. So I'm not following exactly what you're saying. You're saying Biden told everyone to go to hell when he forgot when he told everyone to go to hell. GD being goddamn it if we don't follow.
There's one thing that Reagan said that I admire too at the United Nations. He said to the UN that if our planet was invaded by an outside force and we had no ability to organize ourselves, we would put aside all our differences and all our tribalism, and so
I think we would rise to the occasion. I think if we were
he said that
by another planet or
another race or something from outer space, he said
federation,
that.
Some planetary federation out there, which some people say exists, and if we were invaded, I think that would change world politics dramatically.
If they came down and said, take us to your leader, we would not give up Joe Biden. We'd be like, oh, here's the president of France here or something.
Yeah.
Or here's this guy.
I don't know.
They would look at him and go, he's not there. He's not all there right now. Go get me somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm Muslim. I don't drink, Scotty. Clearly, I was speaking to you, the host said. It's like you forgot. It's not as clear as you think it is, Aisha, because I'm not following you. I'm fairly erudite at being able to decipher people and interpret what's being said. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to tell me. You're Muslim, okay. There's one thing. You don't drink, okay. I didn't know you were Muslim. You said clearly I was speaking to you in a numeral and a capital letter, shorthand. So I was speaking to you, the host. Sad. But you said it's like he forgot when he told everyone to go to hell, GD it if we don't follow. Are you talking about me or Biden? When did I tell anyone to go to hell?
Mhm.
Let's see, that's where you lost me. Rude is the word, but maybe searching for. F-U, say it again. You know, I don't know what's up your ass tonight, Aisha. You and I have gotten along pretty well in the past. But you're saying some pretty inflammatory stuff for the sake of being dumb. And I don't appreciate it. So if you want to leave, you can leave. If you want to play nice, play nice. If you got something to say to me, call into the show and talk to me and say it. Don't type to me in shorthand in the chat room and tell me I'm deficient somewhere or being rude because I swore. Or that I don't realize you're Muslim and you don't drink. Whatever. Why don't you be a little more clear and a little less obtuse yourself? There you go. Well, there you go. I'm rude as fuck. So there, you've said it. You and I have never been on. You are the same person as Paige Soiree, aren't you? Who I always call Soiree. You are that same person? Or are you a different person with a different name now, Aisha? I always thought you were the same person. The picture looks the same. You and I have always gotten along just fine. So I'm not sure what the stick is up your butt tonight. So if you got to say something, say it. Yeah, I'm the host. It's my show. I can say what I want to say. If you want to insult me or have something, then call in and insult me. Have some balls and call the show and talk to me. Otherwise, shut up. That's something Rocky and I said to a lot of people, too. You like Rocky so much? He and I coined the phrase, shut up. Hashtag shut up. SHUDDUP. So if you don't like it, shut up. If you want to talk to me, you're welcome. Because I'll treat you the way I always have. You've always been friendly and you've always been a good friend and I've always enjoyed your company here. But tonight you're being weird. So if you want to be weird, call in and be weird to my face or shut up. It's that simple. Paige Rockwell Soiree or Suey. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce it because I always said soiree because we were on a very friendly terms. So, but I've never told anybody here to go to hell over anything. But if you're going to be insulting like that, I'll say, shut the fuck up. Or call me and talk to my face. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's up your butt tonight, but if you got something up your butt, call in and we'll talk. So, go to hell, she says. Okay. All right. That's somehow better than me saying fuck off. So, if you're going to be that way, be that way. Go listen to somebody else. It's that simple. And we were fine until you started being that way. All right. And I've got a bigger platform because I'm talking on air. She could come in and talk too. You can come, you can call in, you can talk on here. Your voice could be just as loud as mine. So there it is. I'm talking to you the way I've talked to my own friends, my closest friends. I've told Dave Potter, go fuck yourself. I told him, go to hell. We've had our times. Other things. Doesn't mean we're not friends and not friendly. So, and I've had it said to me. So there we go. That will either put that to rest or you can come in and get the heck out of Dodge. I don't know. You're the one that's still here in the chat room. If you don't want to be here, then leave. If you want to be here and participate. There you go. It's that simple. The dude knows mole. M-O-L. Or is that M-O-I? I have my glasses on.
She's saying moi, like
moi. Oh, you're speaking French. The dude knows moi. There you go. I do know you. So There we go. And we've never had any problems or altercations over anything before. Why tonight? I don't know. Is it because I asked you why you don't like Patreon? I didn't ask you to list all your personal reasons for it. Just tell me, well, what is it about Patreon you don't like? Is it because you'd have to pay to listen to the show, the price of half a cup of coffee for a month? There's some people that won't listen to my show anymore just simply because, I'll just go listen to the free person. Because you can give me 20 hours a year month for free. And I'll do it for free. But if you're going to ask me for a half a cup of coffee, I'm a trashy show. Okay. I don't care. I don't care what you think. If you think this show is classified as being a trashy show, you show me where anybody says that about this show.
Honestly, there's a lot of trashy shows on YouTube that people
There are.
I mean,
there are a lot of trashy shows on YouTube.
How it is.
Paige, I will tell you this. For me being a trashy show, you've been here an awful lot. You must like trashy. If you're qualifying this show as trashy. So, there it is.
You guys ever heard of a guy?
I don't know if it's really her. That doesn't sound like the Paige.
See, with me, if I don't like something, if I don't like watching something, I don't watch it.
That's it. If I don't like something, I don't watch it. If I think it's trashy, I don't watch it.
You guys know of a show.
I'm done. That's all I do.
You guys know of a show that comes on YouTube called the Joe Rogan Show. I think you guys should know it. He has like a podcast, but at times when he talks about, he interviews different people. I think there's a guy called Graham Phillips. I think I can't remember his last name, but he does a lot of deep history and other things like pyramids and things like that. A lot of big topics. Sometimes Joe Rogan can talk, some education things, and sometimes he can be a bit verbal on his show. Sure. Very, very much more compared to other common, moderators, I find so. Yeah.
Well, here, let me just say, Aisha, Paige, I don't know Brad Staggs personally. I don't think I've ever talked to him. He knows you. No, that's fine. You say, I don't know you. Well, I don't really. I know what you show. You've never shown this kind of attitude before or personality before. You and I have always been friendly. So do I know you? Like I know you. Like I know my wife, Rainey? No. I know you as one of my listeners. And as much as you've revealed to me or I've revealed to you, I give you everything I got over here every night. I have done that for years. There's no secrets about me. If I don't know you, I only know what you've let me know. And so far, it's been pretty friendly until tonight. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the stick is up your ass tonight. And I say it that way because of the way you are. I love Izzo. He knows the difference. The difference between what? What's the difference? What difference are you talking about? Paige, it says Aisha. Duh. I at first didn't know if that was you or somebody else with the same last name until I saw the picture. So, I'm Scotty. Duh.
Oh, it says it right there, Scotty. Holy crap.
It does. So, I don't know. If you don't like the show, you don't have to be here. If this is a trashy show and you stick around, you must like trashy shows. So, there, we'll leave it at that. And I know Dominic Izzo too. I not personally and close up, but Rocky and I did some shows with him. So I know who he is. I don't know him intimately. But, okay, good. You know him. Cool. Duh. So, again, you've got an open invite. You can call in. You can give me a piece of your mind right here.
Yeah.
So.
It's a good way to end a segment.
Yeah, it is.
It's like going out with a bang.
I've been nothing but offensive. What, just tonight? Like in the last 23 minutes or the last 4 years or the last 22 years of broadcasting this show? I've been nothing but offensive.
Years.
Wow. Or was it just tonight? Because I said something you don't like. So I'm offensive? All I did was ask you, well, what don't you like about Patreon? So, and I think what I said was, I really don't care. When it comes down to not talking to you specifically, anybody, if doesn't matter to me if somebody likes Patreon, likes YouTube, likes Facebook, likes Twitter, likes Instagram, likes Spotify, likes any of those. I don't care. You go where you want to go. That's what I said.
It's your choice.
So if you don't like Patreon, okay, don't go there ever. But I was curious to know why you don't like Patreon. You want to avoid that topic and not talk about it? Okay, fine. And if you think this is offensive, you should see me when I really believe somebody deserves to be offended. I don't think you deserve to be offended. I haven't been offensive to you. I've been talking pretty plain language to you, though, the way you're talking plain language to me. So that's your plain language. You're telling me what you think, and I'm telling you what I think. So there it is. All right. I don't mind a good argument. I don't mind a good debate, but I don't like a one-sided debate. You've made it too easy for me to be one-sided in the debate, Paige. So if you want to throw up shorthand, partially written English sentences and try to offend me, then it's not going to work. So don't give a fuck who you don't know. Sounds like you know not a God look at Quick Trip. Why, thank you, Aisha. I appreciate that. And you're just trying to be insulting now. You're not stating any facts. You're saying, I don't give a fuck who you don't know. Okay. That's an opinion. Sounds like you know nada. That's an opinion. Okay. If I know nada, what's that got to do with stating any fact to me? It states your opinion. Randall Flagg, you're absolutely right. That seems like a very different person than Paige Soiree, who I've talked to many times in the past. So, and it's never been an issue of having any problems. So, ever, not even close. So, Paige, if you're drinking, you should slow down, because you're becoming inarticulate. You never said you don't like Patreon? I could have sworn there was at least 3 or 4 times you said you don't like Patreon, you'll never go there. So I think the shorthand is very telling. Really stupid show. Well, this isn't really a show, is it? This is an after show. This is an informal after show where people can come in and call and talk. That's all it is. This is not the show. We did the show and finished the show an hour ago. So, really stupid show. Well, okay. I would just ask, who are you to tell me my show is stupid other than you don't like it? Okay, so don't like it and declare it stupid. Fine. I think some of the things you've been saying tonight are pretty stupid. So, there, we've got opinion and an opinion.
Where's the shirt that says I'm with stupid that points?
Yeah, we'll get you one of those. I'm with stupid.
I should
have it point at me.
Wear that shirt and just point that way.
Yeah. So, did you like the show on the topic of adventure? Aisha? Paige? Did you like the show? Because this isn't the show. This is the after show. So was that stupid or this is stupid? I think our conversation is stupid going on right now. That's okay, Matthew. We're just about ready out of here anyway. So she's removed many of her posts. She's removed them so she doesn't have to be accountable for what she said, which again makes me think, is that really Paige we're talking to? Because Paige has never been anything but sweet. This whoever's typing in Paige's place tonight as Aisha is you're the one who drinks? Oh, sometimes I drink. Hey, look, I got a bottle of Hendrix right here, gin. But I haven't drunk out of this bottle in about a year. So I don't drink all that much. Used to drink more. Let's see. The last alcoholic drink I had was St. Patrick's Day here on this show. That was March 17th with my son Sam. I haven't had a spot of alcohol since then. So I drink. You're the one who's talking like you're drinking right now. It was my point. Somebody who's got to keep saying, it's me, Paige. It makes me think it's not you. It's not her. Because Paige has never talked this way, ever. Or drawn my ire over any issue. Always been a sweetheart. So. There it is, Matthew Sainsbury. St. Patrick's Day. Hey, Flynn. What you doing? I'll be done in a few minutes. I'll hang out. So, anyway, let's move on to. See, I don't mind a good argument. I can hold my own in an argument.
You should do a.
But Paige, for as disgusting as this show is, as much as you think it's stupid, and I'm being an ass or whatever you said, you're sure sticking it out. I'm glad you're still here.
Gives you to watch time.
Barbie D's trying to change the subject. So what's Newfield, guy? It's okay, Barbie D. We're done.
I don't think anybody wants to hear about me.
Sure we do. What's going on? You want to go on an adventure?
Yes.
You could choose an adventure. What would be your adventure?
I'm not much of a traveling person, but I guess maybe once in a blue moon I travel somewhere.
Would you travel if you could?
If I had the resources, probably.
Okay. So what makes you not want to be not be that into travel? Just, I can't do it. It's too expensive. Or if you had the resources, do you think you'd want to travel?
Maybe so. I don't know. It would have to be, I mean, there's places I want to see, but I'm just not good on road trips.
Oh, now I like road trips if they're done the right way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Barbie D says hi to Flynn. Flynn left the room already. He just came over I think he just came to see what I'm doing. Today was the last day of school for my kids for the school year. And so they're celebrating to the hilt their first day of summer by staying up real late. So
you should go when Flynn is doing a live stream and walk up in there and say, hey, how you doing?
I should. Flynn likes to do live streams. Oh, he gets mad when we interrupt his live streams.
I was in the stream for like 2 hours. I don't think he said one word to me.
Oh, really?
I don't think he saw me.
Remember, he's only 13.
I was just 14. Messing around. I was like, hey, I'm watching your show. Hello.
Yeah, he's going on 14, and he's got social graces to catch up on and stuff like that.
My brother was like that for a while. He was kind of to himself. What's the one that's like inward, not extrovert or introvert, or one of those where you stay with yourself?
He's an introvert, yeah. A little bit. My brother's
like that.
He's got good friends, though. He's very different when he's with his friends and so on, as you can imagine. But
he reminds me a lot of like my brother. My brother, like, he lives right down the street. I might see him once every 6 months. He lives right down the street.
Yeah.
He's not an antisocial. It's just that he deals with people all day. He stays in his house. He travels only when he has to. I think Flynn will grow out of that.
I think he will.
When he gets a girl, he'll grow out of that.
Barbie D says, I traveled from inside to the outside of my apartment. But Barbie D, would you, if you could go anywhere you wanted to and resources was not an issue, would you take a trip somewhere? Oh, I'm pausing like she's going to answer audibly. She's not going to answer audibly. So, yeah, think of it. Let me know. If you wanted to go somewhere, where would you go? If you had the resources and the ability to do it, where would you? There's a Serpent Mound in Ohio, says Matthew Sainsbury. I recall. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Matthew, I've been there. When we went down to my daughter's wedding 4 years ago in South Carolina, when we drove back through, we went through Point Pleasant. When we got to Ohio, my dad lives about less than a half an hour from the Serpent Mound in Ohio. So we went through there to visit my dad, and then we stopped at the Serpent Mound. There's actually a video on my channel somewhere about the Serpent Mound.
What city is that in?
Pebbles or Peebles, Ohio, I think. Peebles.
My brother lives in Ohio, so
yeah. So you can see it's somewhere on here. It's in the. It's not in my main body of Intrepid radio shows. It's more in the family trips and stuff like that section of my YouTube page.
I think I've seen that
you can
video.
Find it in there somewhere. Ireland. Barbie D would like to go to Ireland. Have you got any Irish in you then, Barbie D?
Guinness is the national currency over there.
Yes, it is.
They trade everything in,
Yes, it is.
I already been to Myrtle's. I plan on going back.
I haven't been to Myrtle's. My daughter got married at the Magnolia Plantation outside of Charleston, South Carolina. But Myrtle's I've never been to.
It's pretty well now. It's when I went there about 6 or 7 years ago. It used to be all out in a thing. There's like a gas station across the street. It's a bed and breakfast basically now. I mean, they have an Instagram page, but it's only like 2 hours away from me at most.
Yeah.
When I went, you had to go through ferry because there was no bridge. But last year they built a bridge, so you build a bridge. It's actually pretty close to well, not close, but it's on the way to Doug's. But it's like you take a right instead of a left.
Okay.
So it's about an hour from my aunt's house, about 2 hours from my house because I've been there. I've been there twice. It's been about 10 years. I got some postcards somewhere. Of course, it's about Chloe the slave and the all that stuff. The thing. Well, they rent out the room, the judge's room, and they say if you can sleep in that room overnight, it's free. Supposedly, he comes in the room and he strangles you. You hear footsteps, and then people get accused.
The hanging judge.
Mm-hmm. Well, he got killed with the oleander poison. Him and the kids.
Here.
At least that's the story, anyways.
Here, I found the Serpent Mound video. It's only 7.5 minutes long. Here, I'll post the link if you want to go see it, Matthew, right here. Boom. That's the link to go see when I went to the Serpent Mounds. I was with Rainey and the kids there, and we walked around and talked about it a little bit. It's about a little over 7 minutes long. There you go.
I never saw her, Matthew, but people got her on camera.
Yeah, I've heard people have her on camera.
Well, I took moss from the tree. They don't know the exact tree she was hung from, but I have a pretty good idea. They said it might be this one, might be that one. I took some moss. Of course, moss dies over time. And I found it about 10 years later, 8 years later in a bag. So I had to throw it away, but I still have the postcards somewhere. I forget where I put them, and it's got the picture. I think it's over here. It's got the picture of the. Here's there. No, that ain't it. I know. I just saw it the other day. Is this it? No. I don't know what I did with them. I had them sitting right there, but it just shows the outside of the house and an inside, and it's
sure. I've seen even a more recent one that was taken. So.
They got the Instagram page, and they kind of do these, and I don't think it's real because they did one. They posted it about 4 or 5 months ago, and it says Chloe photobomb, and I'm looking at it, and I said that can't be real.
Here's a question for you. If we know that ghosts or certain spirits can mimic people, we've had it happen. We've seen it done. if there's not even really, let's say hypothetically, there's no real ghost of Chloe, could all the talk about it and the pictures and all that, could that be something impersonating a Chloe?
It's possible.
That's the big question. That's where we don't really know what we're getting. So,
well, when you go in the house, they have
hey, talk for a second for me. I need a, as Kenny would say, a commercial break. So I'm gonna remove myself for a minute. You go ahead and talk for a minute.
I'll film in. Welcome to the Field Guy Show. I guess you can say it, right? We can't get any more this, but I think there's a thing when you go in the Myrtles with a mirror. Something about the mirror. They changed the mirror out. It's dirty, and I've never opened a Bible up in my life. I try not to. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but yeah. Well, I plan on going there by the end of the year. Maybe I want to go up there in like August or September when it cools a little bit more. Because St. Francisville, it's about 2 hours away. The whole plantation's in the shade, mostly. Like right across the street there, it's all modernized. They built around the plantation. There's a gas station. There's a mall down the street. But when I went, there was no bridge. It was a ferry. They recently built a bridge because you had to wait 30 minutes for the ferry to go back and forth. I think it's been... I went in 2011, 2012, somewhere around. It's been about 10 years, 10, 11 years. I have postcards somewhere. But, hey, this is the kind of crap I talk about on my channel. I just sit here and talk about whatever I want. And they don't do much about it, really. So Randall's got friends in Derry. Don't know where that is, but if it rhymes with Derry, it's good enough. No, I'll tell you, when people tell me there's no such thing as spirits, I laugh at them. There's I've said this before. There's a slave cemetery. I was filming it this morning, basically. I didn't go in it, but I kind of filmed it. It's 100 yards behind a damn gym. Oh, yeah, when you go in the house, there is a bunch of steps. I've walked up and down those steps before. I've heard that story, too, where somebody was hung, or either they hung or they fell off the stairs, or maybe he was shot. I've heard that story before. Of course, I couldn't record it back then, but yeah. So that is that plantation's pretty big, though. The gift shop is like the old slave quarters, if I remember right, on one side. Oh, it was shot. Yeah, it's been a while since I knew that part. But the whole story of Chloe, she was out of favor with the judge, and she wanted to get back into good graces. So she wanted the little girl had a birthday. So she mixed oleander leaves into a batch of a cake. Well, she didn't know the dosage and put too much oleander in there, which is poisonous. And the kids ate it, and the wife ate it. I don't think the judge ate it. I think it was the wife and to the other slaves, to prevent them getting in trouble. They gathered it up and hung her from a tree.
And that's all there was to that.
See, I did better than Carlene earlier.
So
that just proves I went and watched a replay
of Carly.
When you took a bathroom break during that she dropped off the screen.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It was just your chair.
Carlene. I thought you said Carly.
Oh, my word,
Carly Sagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could probably, I don't want to wake her up. I could probably say, hey, get in here, but no.
Well, I'm pretty much going to call the show now. It's not the show that's not a show. It's an after show.
The show that caused a lot of crap and was actually good in the ratings.
Well, I don't go out of my way to offend anybody, but I don't like people talking trashy to me. So if you got an opinion, share it with me, debate me. We'll talk about it. If you want to just throw out one-liners at me, I'll throw them right back. I think I've learned in my old age, there's one thing I don't like. When I say I don't care, it's really what it comes down to. There's certain things I just don't care. I don't care what people think. I don't care I don't care in unsolicited judgmental opinions about things. And I'm not saying that's what happened tonight precisely, but I'm saying there are certain things I don't have time for bullshit. Be straightforward, be to the point. If you're going to make a point, support your point. If you're going to make a point about me, support your point about me. Otherwise, be done. See ya. Shut up. As Rocky and I used to say, shut up. So,
yep.
Anyway, she lasted 3 seconds. I'm not. I don't even know exactly what you're referring to there, and I don't want to.
I guess when you went to the bathroom break, or you took the commercial break.
That's right. Her connection. She said her connection dropped. So
I was like, bad. 1, 2, 3, and I was like, okay. The good thing about that
was too bad.
I skipped the hit.
I don't think she's ever been put on the spot like that, though. I thought she could do it because she likes to come on and talk. So it might be, and she can talk a lot on the show. So I thought, it's a perfect chance to go get my coffee. And she either froze up or her connection froze up.
I think she said the connection was down or something. Everybody was like, oh, she pressed a button.
Thank you, Barbie D. I appreciate that.
Because I was watching it and I said, let me skip ahead 2 minutes back to the action. And you got back and you were like, well, that was interesting.
Well, everybody, Barbie D, you have a good weekend too. We'll see you back here Sunday morning. We'll be on here Sunday morning.
Woo, Sunday morning.
And that's it. That's all I got. I'm
turn out the lights. The party's over.
Yeah.
Well, for here it is.
Anyway, that's all I know. That's all I got. Carlene. Yeah, Carlene's fun.
Yeah.
So thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. So I appreciate your feelings about the changes with the show and that you offered your perspective. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And and anybody else can too. So that's all we got. So we're out of here. Fieldy, thanks for coming on, brother.
See you later.
Talk to you soon.
See you Sunday morning.
All right, man. Talk to you later. And everybody else, thanks for being here. Thanks for your time. Thanks for everything you've given me so far up to this point. Again, this is the last full Intrepid radio show we're going to be doing on YouTube. We're porting everything over to Mondays, starting to broadcast from Patreon. So go on over, take a look. And if you can afford the $4 a month, join up. And I'd appreciate it. And it helps make this show even better. And see what we can do. We'll see where it goes. So until then, thank you for being here. And see you Sunday and live long and prosper.